What's up, everybody? Capt Deez here, and today we are going to go over OP14 Mihawk. Mihawk is being considered one of the top 4 decks of the set right now. Those include Emu, Ace, Boa, and of course, Mihawk. Today I'm going to show you what kind of build that I like to see in a Mihawk, what I would prefer to play, and the kind of matchups that you want to look for, and what cards are really good in those matchups and what you want to try and fix if you're going to play this deck. So let's jump into it now. There's really 2 main builds that you can see for a Mihawk build. I'm not the biggest fan of one of them. I'll go through it right now. The first one is the Supernova package. That includes cards like Perona, Bonnie, and Killer, all as your searchers to try and find your top end stuff. Your slash cards in your Mihawk, your Shanks, your 9-drop Shanks, your Law Beppo, all of these cards are extremely needed and all searchable by Perona. The only one that is searchable by the other 2 searchers is the Law and Beppo. The Supernova searchers also search your 2Ks in Zoro, Basil Hawkins, and your blocker, which is Bonnie. Now, this build has its own advantages. You have a lot of searchers, so you can really find your Law Beppo and your Shanks. Really important cards to find. Filling out the curve as well on 5, it's really easy to have one of these 2 cards down and your stage. That way you can use your leader ability to rest your stage, not play a card on 5, still allowing you to play a card. Swing with your leader, swing with the character. Now you have 3 cards rested. It allows you to play Bonnie for 5. You have now 8 things rested because you rest 5 Dawn, and then you restand 1. You have your blocker. You get to draw 2 trash 1, and it's really good on 5 doing that. That's really only if you miss the Tashigi, because Tashigi is the best card to have on 5. As always with all Mihawk decks, you want to have your curve. You want to have your searchers early. You want to have your 5-drop, your 7-drop, your 9-drop, and then 10, 10, 10, 10. That's the game plan of Mihawk, and there's no real deviating from it. That's why a deck like this that searches possibly 12 times can be very good or very bad. The good aspect of it is, like I said, Perona searches these 4 cards, including your Tashigi actually. So these 5 cards, the main core 5 cards, Perona finds. And then the other 8 searchers are for everything else to help make this deck consistent. This isn't the build that I would prefer. The one that I prefer really is this one. It's not Supernova. It still runs the Perona because the Perona searches for your best top end cards. Law Beppo, Shanks, Mihawk, Tashigi. Keep those consistent. But where this lacks in extra searching, it makes up for in protection and consistency. So you still have your 4 stages, which help a lot. They draw a card, you're able to rest it all the time. Kikunoju is a very good 2K. I like to play this early in the game because it's going to restand every single turn for me. Almost like a searcher where you play and you'd rest it, but it doesn't stay rested, so your opponent can't get rid of it as easy. So it's easy to protect your Tashigi. It's easy for extra procs for that. For Mihawk and like all your other cards that need those specific cards to be rested, now you'll have cards on board instead of Tashigi, or instead of using Dawn to activate your Tashigi ability. And so you have more Dawn to really swing with and be a little bit more aggressive with, which is why I really like playing this early on to help fill out that curve in the 1 Dawn, 3 Dawn kind of turns. Other than that on 3 Dawn, Tashigi is very good, the 2K Tashigi. It doesn't protect your 5-drop, but it protects your Carrot, your 7-drop Shanks, your 9-drop Mihawk, your 10-drop Law Beppo. It protects everything else from being destroyed, bottom decked, KO'd. They can't touch them at that point. Your Tashigi is able to protect your entire board, and you can just feel free to swing away with no repercussions at that point. This deck also runs Carrot and Perona. Carrot is a very good card, especially in the mirror. On 7, when they play the Shanks, the 7-drop Shanks, on 8 you're able to play the Carrot. If it's rested, then you get to stun the Shanks every turn from here on out. If they have the TCG rested, you could drop this down to stun the TCG, and if he ever does swing with the Shanks, well, then you get to keep the Shanks locked down thereafter. So it's very good. Even if you just get one target to stun and then they have to react and stun your carrot, you're forcing them to play suboptimally, so that way you can come out on top. One of the tech cards that I've liked seeing is I know you're strong, so I'll go all out from the start. And what this does is similar to what Carrot does, and what Perona does is it locks two things that are rested already. So 2 7 or lesses that are already rested, you get to keep rested. And if you don't want to use it for that effect, it's a plus 3,000 on counter to your leader. It's very good. I like these cards that have dual effects, a main and a counter. They make them very strong. DMG is also one of those, very strong, really good for late end game pressure, resting blockers and then swinging face, or even playing this, resting 4 Dawn and then resting your stage to get the 3 Dawn back, and then playing something to then keep everything rested. There's so many things you could do late game with this card. Is very good, very, very good. And then finally, the billion-fold world Tricholicaza. What? This card is just green rad beam. That's all you need to know. If you have 8 things rested, including Dawn, including leader, including stage, including characters, 8 altogether, which, come on, by turn 10 you should have all of it rested. Unless you're swinging out and attaching Dawn everywhere, you should have this. And then you get +4, very strong. I think this is the best build for Mihawk, and there's not really many lists like this that can compete with it. Again, there is the Supernova build that does pretty well, but I think that there's some glaring weaknesses to stuff like this. I had originally tried a Wano build that does similar things to this, but it uses the Otama and the Momo, and that you can be my samurai to draw cards. Super fun, but it lacked consistency. Because you're searching 8 different times for the cards that you want on board, and the 2Ks and all the other event cards, it takes away from what you're trying to do, which is find the Tashigi, the Shanks, the Law Beppo, and the Mihawk. Like, those are the top end cards. And when you're searching 5 deep for this card, 5 deep for this card, possibly more than once, that's at least 10 cards deep that you're gonna find one of your top end cards and goes right to the bottom at that point, because they aren't. The only one with exception is Law Beppo, which is searchable by, you know, Bonnie, Kid and Killer, and Perona. This is the only one that's triple searchable. Everything else, not really, except Zoro, but that's a 2K. Doesn't really matter. Same with Basil Hawkins. Like, you don't care. These aren't the targets you're looking for with your Perona. You're looking for your curve with the Peronas. You're looking for the 2Ks and the Lawn Beppos with the other 2 searchers in Bonnie and Kid and Killer. And this one also doesn't run the 3 billion fold. It runs the Karma Exposure because it's Supernova. And I do not like this card. It is a conditional +3K, which we get +3Ks on cards that have main effects like this and this. They're both really good. And then you get this, which is like, hey, it's +2,000, but if you got enough characters on board, which I'm hoping you do, give an extra +1,000. Who cares? Who cares about +1,000? Give me +2,000. Make it a 2+2 if you're gonna give it a conditional format. Don't give it 2+1, because then it's just ass. There are plenty of +3 counter cards that don't have a conditional. Like, it's not that great of a card. It's just Supernova and searchable. That's it. This would be the list that I recommend. Its best matchups are some of the high-end decks. I think it's about 50-50 into Boa. It has a winning matchup into Emu, so if Emu is one of your biggest problems, I recommend playing this. I don't think I've lost a single game against Emu playing this deck. You just have to hit your curve relatively okay, get your 7 drop down, don't rest it in the beginning the first time it comes out. You want to be able to rest it and -1 to their whole board after the fact. Play your Mihawks. And then when you're starting to push for game, you drop a Perona. They can't rest 2 of their cards, one of them being the Warcury blocker, and then you swing with the Shanks or the Mihawk to prevent the other blocker from the Mars from being rested. And now 3 of their 5 cards cannot be rested. So on your turn, their turn, they can't attack with it, they can't block with it, and you have free range to just swing at their face. You can kill their Nostura if you want. It's probably rested. They'll probably give it up for free, and then everything else goes to their face, and you win the game. You can do it with 1 Perona, you can do it with no Peronas, you can do it with 3 Peronas. It gets very easy the more Peronas you get. Same with the Shanks, same with the Mihawks. Like, the more top end you have, it just gets easier and easier and easier. Mihawk has obviously a 50-50 matchup into itself. I think it's about a 50-50 matchup into Boa, as I said before. Maybe it's slightly losing, but I think you can definitely win that matchup, especially if you play it smart, play it right. And then, last but not least, in the top 4 is Ace, which I think this has a winning matchup into as well. You can lock their bodies, lock their board pretty easily with Carrot. Up until Jozu, anything can get rested, anything can get stunned and locked, and you can really put pressure on them that way. DMG is really, really good to kind of put that final pressure on as well, because a lot of times they'll put, when they get the 10 Dawn, they'll play the 8-drop event to summon their 10-drop blocker beard, and then use the last 2 Dawn to summon an Uta blocker. DMG rests both of those. You can restand 3 of that Dawn back by resting your stage or something, and you have 9 Dawn plus whatever characters you had prior on board to just swing at the face and really take control of the game. Even if they decide to go wide, they didn't go tall, and they have, let's say, Yamato's out, Jozu's out, blocker Marcos, and they're going 5 wide that way. That's not bad, because you have Carrot to keep stuff stunned, you have Perona to keep things from not being able to block or attack. You have DMG that you can rest their stuff and use the I Know You're Strong event to keep them rested. You have options to really keep the Ace from going too tall into you. Plus your 5 life, so you have a lot of, wiggle room with protecting yourself. Also, Law Beppo is a very insane card. The moment they put down their 10 blocker beard, they'll probably have something else rested. You can use your Law Beppo on 10 to rest their blocker beard and keep it frozen. So it gives you plenty of time to stack the Law Beppos when they're trying to stack their blocker beards, and then you rest all their stuff at once, and then you're swinging multiple Law Beppos to their face, you're swinging the Shanks to their face, the Mihawk to their face. They can't really block because their blocker beards are stunned. Your cards, like Mihawk, prevent their cards from resting. Same with the Shanks, it just rests the blockers on impact. So you have a lot of ways to get through what Ace really, really tries to do all game long. So that's why I think Mihawk is a very good deck right now in this format. When EBO3 comes out, some decks like Boa get a little bit better. Some other decks like Luffy is probably going to get better because we're going to get a lot of good generic yellow cards, which is where this deck is going to start struggling a little bit. But with all of this new support coming out, it's just going to give people a new way to approach Mihawk. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you've tried out Mihawk, if you've tried out any of the versions. Let me know which one was your favorite. But till then, see you next time.